This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
All right, it is Wednesday, August 20th, 8 months to the day since Donald Trump returned to the White House. And while many wonderful things have happened over the last 8 months, closing the border, ending wars, firing deep state snakes, peace breaking out around the globe, there is one thing that is still really aggravating, infuriating for those of us who were expecting to see people in handcuffs, to see some of the bad actors who ran roughshod over the last 4 years in orange jumpsuit. Here's the standings as they sit today. Arrest totals today after 8 months. Russia collusion hoaxers, 0 arrests. January 6th, committee members, 0 arrests. Mar-a-Lago raid, 0. Biden auto pen scandal, 0. Epstein pedophiles arrested, 0. COVID hoaxers, Fauci, 0 arrests. Doge, 0. And I add one thing to this list: protecting illegal alien criminals from ICE arrests, 0. All right, guys, we were supposed to be taking action by now. Again, I commend many of the things. I commend Trump for many of the things he's done, and I think Tom Homan has done a terrific job. Pam Bondi, not so much. I'm certainly rooting for Akash Patel and Dan Bongino and Andrew Bailey at the FBI. But what are you waiting for? Someone has to be held accountable. That is the only way things change. If there are no arrests, if there is no accountability, then it will happen again. In a year and a half, we may see the House change hands, then it's over. And in 3.5 years, who knows? Maybe Kamala Harris will finally win and I can't even say what'll happen. Maybe Gavin Newsom will win, and we'll have a Democrat Party that is invested in protecting illegal aliens and stopping ICE from making cities more safe. I got an idea here. This is for Stephen Miller and Tom Homan and Pam Bondi. You want to know where to start? You start in a city that has a mayor who is flipping the middle finger at you, who is telling you they will not cooperate. They will not help you remove MS-13 gang members and child predators and drug dealers from their community. You start in a city where the mayor and everybody around her, every single elected official is trying to stop you, who are literally telling you they will not obey the law. They will defy you. They will break the law for the sole purpose of protecting illegal alien criminals who aren't supposed to be here in the first place. This event yesterday at Boston City Hall was just amazing. It was just a collection of freaks and nuts and weirdos that make up the Mayor Wu administration. Many of these people, they're not from Boston. Mayor Wu's not from Boston. She's from Chicago. Her parents are from Taiwan. She's an immigrant and an ingrate, like many of these elected Democrats who came to this country, or family came to this country and were given everything. And what do? They turn around and hate America, hate the American people, and want to keep them in danger. Boston is full of illegal aliens. New England is full of illegal aliens. And it's time for Tom Homan and Pam Bondi and Akash Patel to make a concerted effort to protect the people of Boston, the law-abiding people of Boston and Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island. It's time to focus here. And it's time to arrest somebody. And may I suggest you start with Mayor Wu, who said yesterday, went before the cameras, went to the podium and said she will not follow the law. This event, we should begin with this. We'll go through some of the speakers, some of the things they said, some of the laws they are vowing to break. You had the dumbest man in the U.S. Senate, Ed Markey, get up and attempt to read a one-page statement. That was a challenge. God, is he pathetic. But the event began with a musical number, and this a mariachi band, an event designed to defy the federal government and make it clear that they will continue to protect illegal aliens, begins with a mariachi band that was, as I said, this makes Yoko Ono sound like Adele. Listen to this singer. Listen to this band that they featured at Boston City Hall yesterday.
Everybody, hoo-hoo-ya, hoo-hoo-ya.
Former police commissioner Ed Davis, who's like 7 feet tall, standing there. Where is your dignity, Ed Davis? You're really on board with this? You are supposed to be a law enforcement guy, and you're standing there participating in an event that is all about breaking the law. I think Yoko did it better, I have to say. Yoko did it better than that mariachi band, but that was not the most annoying sound in the world yesterday at Boston City Hall. No, that honor would go to Mayor Wu, our 40-year-old child who serves as mayor, who came here from Chicago, went to Harvard, of course, and then moved here, got into politics, and now claims it's our city. You can't do this it's not your city. It's not, the city doesn't belong to these freaks who surrounded you at this event. I would say a mayor who's vowing to make her city more dangerous, more violent, more deadly is not really concerned with her city. She's concerned, like all Democrats, with protecting illegal alien criminals, because that's where their power is. They know that now. They want these people to vote. They want them counted in the census. They want illegal aliens in their cities. And Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and Tom Homan are vowing to remove these criminals. They, once again, just like in D.C., if you were to talk to a law-abiding citizen who just happens to live there around these criminals, they would applaud this. I know this. I live there. I applaud this. I support this. If I see ICE driving down my street, I will clap. I will cheer. I will give them a thumbs up. They are doing really good work. And an elected, the mayor is saying she will not help. She will break the law. Why is she not already arrested? I don't know. But here is Michelle Wu, our horrible mayor.
Received a letter from the Attorney General of the United States on official letterhead from the federal government threatening to prosecute city officials and withhold federal funds unless we cooperate with carrying out mass deportations. At a time when this federal administration is already causing so much fear and harm in our communities, these threats are serious and consequential. But our same communities have told me loud and clear that silence in the face of oppression is not an option.
Oppression. She called it oppression. Arresting criminals. And while this was going on, same day, same time, ICE posted, as they often do, they post the people they arrest. Here's ICE Boston. And I think this was like the same time this stupid event was going on. ICE says, ICE Boston arrested Wow Victor Brum, an illegal Brazilian alien in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Brum's criminal history includes assault and battery on a disabled person over 60 years old with injury. So an illegal alien from Brazil who beat up an elderly disabled person was grabbed by ICE Boston while that menace of a mayor is saying it's oppression. That is oppression, what you're looking at. Arresting this scumbag, according to the mayor and all the weirdos surrounding her, that's oppression. That's against the law. She says, we follow the law. The Trump administration breaks the law. How the hell, how do you get to that point where you think arresting that guy is oppression and against the law? And Bill Malusian from Fox, he posted a thread, and it's incredible. Malusian has said Boston is the worst place in the country for flat out protecting illegal aliens. He posted a thread with just a handful of some of the absolute monsters that ICE has grabbed in Boston. It's just phenomenal. I mean, I don't have time to go through it. He points out in a thread all the arrests just since August 12th for ICE in Boston or the surrounding community. Let me get to these. It goes on and on. Let me find some of the best. Let me find some of the highlights. He posts from his ride-alongs that he's had with Boston, all the bad guys that he's seen, including the guy who, by the way, said he hates Donald Trump. Let's see. Juan Cabos Vargas, a criminal illegal and charged with assault. Raul Quintela Cabeza, charged with sexual offenses. Victor Cabrera, charged with assault. On and on it goes. He's got pictures of him too. Turkish illegal alien Bilal Karati, arrested for raping a Massachusetts resident over the age of 14. His detainer was ignored and he was released into the community. Dominican illegal alien Julio Soto Hered, charged in Boston with fentanyl trafficking and possession of a gun, wanted in the Dominican for firearms trafficking, released from custody into the community with no ICE cooperation. Dominican illegal alien Gregorio Thomas Romero, arrested by Boston police for assault to rape, assault with a deadly weapon, released into the community with no ICE cooperation. I'm telling you, this thread goes forever. Just arrests, and he posts again his ride-alongs and all the scum that ICE has grabbed in Boston. And you have every single elected official, not one who supports law enforcement, not one who's devoted to making their community safer. After Mayor Wu went on her rant, which to me was enough to lead to an arrest, she's flat out saying she's not going to obey the law. You had this pathetic old man, Ed Markey, our junior senator, who I'm not sure how he found his way to Boston City Hall. He doesn't know his way. He doesn't live here. He hasn't lived here in decades. He's from Maryland. And he is just, I mean, he will give Mazie Hirono a run for her money as the dumbest senator. I'm going to give him the nod. Here he is attempting to read a one-page statement and claiming that the federal government enforcing immigration law is unconstitutional. So he really nails this one. Listen to this.
Since taking office, Trump has tried to push this shining city on the hill downward. I urge President Trump to read the United States Constitution. The 10th Amendment forbids the president from strong-arming states and cities to use their own money and police to carry out Trump's agenda of terror. It is a violation of the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Trump wants the city of Boston, Mayor Wu, to bow to his dream of absolute power. But today, we are here to say Boston will not bow down.
Oh, God, people vote for this guy. I mean, he's been in office for 40 years. And you could, my dog is not that dumb. He's just so dumb. And of course, it's not unconstitutional. Of course, it's been challenged many times, and it is the right, the duty of the federal government to enforce immigration law. That's what they're doing around the country. Many states are cooperating. Many cities are becoming safer every day. See Washington, D.C. But they don't want this in Boston. They want to protect guys like that, the guy who beat up a disabled elderly person in Tewksbury. They want to protect him. Check out some of the signs. One sign, I love this. Dissent is patriotic. One of these protesters had a sign. Dissent is patriotic. Do you think that person thought it was patriotic when people dissented to COVID mandates, to mask mandates, to closing schools, to closing gyms? Do you think that person was resisting at that point? And another sign with a Bible verse. I love that. These freaks holding up Bible verses. If that's a right-wing group protesting whatever left-wing policies in Loudoun, Virginia, and someone had a Bible verse, you think the Democrats would be like, yeah, let's follow the Bible when we make public policy? They're such hypocrites. Just a reminder, this was yesterday. That was Monday. That is 3 days after a Cambridge resident, Elizabeth Camacho, was killed in Lewiston, Maine by an illegal alien. We talked about it yesterday. An illegal alien from Angola driving a Buick jumped the curb and killed a 48-year-old Cambridge woman, the constituent of that old man right there, and Liz Warren, a neighbor of Liz Warren, killed by an illegal alien for just walking down the damn street in America. A guy who shouldn't have been here, a guy who certainly shouldn't have been behind the wheel. That's another problem we have right now in this country, is illegal aliens who shouldn't be driving are getting licenses and permits and CDLs to drive tractor trailers. We'll get back to that story too. But I checked this. This just, it drives me, just infuriates me. So again, a neighbor of Liz Warren killed on Friday. Not a word from the fake Indian. Not a word from Ed Markey, not a word from Michelle Wu or Maura Healey or any of them. If that woman was killed by a white guy with an AR-15, they would be screaming about it every day. But she was killed by someone who was allowed into this country by Democrats, by the open border policies of Democrats. So they ignore it. They don't give a damn. Just like when Trump made the speech and acknowledged Laken Riley's family and Jocelyn Nungary's family, and Democrats like Liz Warren and Ed Markey sat on their hands. They don't care about victims of illegal alien criminals. They don't care about the elderly disabled person in Tewksbury who was beaten up by an illegal alien. They don't give a damn. It's all about power to them, ideology and power. And it's disgusting. Stephen Miller is so good on this topic. And again, he teases me every time because he says justice is coming. There will be accountability. We are still waiting, Stephen. But here he is laying out the case for prosecuting these criminals last night.
The Democrat Party is an extremist organization, Sean. It's not a political party in any normal sense of the word. A political party represents Americans. It represents law-abiding citizens. All you see all day long are crazy Democrats screeching on TV on behalf of foreign terrorists, hardened criminals, and violent illegal aliens. A political party exclusively dedicated to protecting terrorists, criminals, gangbangers, and murderers. That's what they become. These sanctuary city mayors, DOJ's been very clear. They had a deadline and they violated it. They had a deadline to comply with federal law and hand over the criminal illegal aliens in their custody, the child rapists, the child predators, the drug traffickers, the human traffickers. The sanctuary cities, like Boston, refused to turn over these menacing threats to public safety. And so now they face not only revocation of funds, not only the loss of taxpayer support, but also potential criminal charges for harboring and smuggling. This is as real as it gets, Sean. The Department of Justice laid out to these mayors how they were breaking our laws, and they refused to change their policy, and Attorney General Bondi is going to see this thing through to the end.
How did we get to this point? How? I think I ask this question every day. I mean, again, I'm from Boston. My parents grew up in Boston. Unlike Michelle Wu, I've been here my whole life. How do we get to the point where the people we elect will not turn over rapists and gang members and fentanyl dealers to be deported, to be prosecuted and deported? They are elected officials, and their top priority is protecting the worst of the worst and making their city more dangerous and making the law-abiding citizens more concerned about criminals and crime in their neighborhoods. How the hell did we get to this point? He is right. It's not a political party anymore. It's a criminal organization. The most powerful Democrats in the country, hell, senators, U.S. senators, go out of their way to say they will defy federal law and protect MS-13 gang members. Let's hear more from Stephen Miller.
Let me just break down for your audience, Sean, how severe the crime committed by these sanctuary cities is. So you'll have a situation where local police in Boston will arrest an illegal alien who's a child predator. And ICE will then send what's called a detainer request or a hold request, and will say, don't release this person, hand them over to ICE, and we'll remove this child predator from our community. Instead, these sanctuary mayors will order the police department to ignore the federal request to set them free out of the jail, out of the prison, and they will go back into the community. And then they will reoffend. They will hurt another little girl. They will hurt another little boy. And then ICE has to spend weeks scouring the community to find this public safety threat. What they're doing, Sean, is evil, and President Trump will see that they are held to account for their crimes.
I agree. It's evil. Will he actually do that? Will Trump, will Bondi, will Bowman actually do that? You don't need any more proof. She told you yesterday. Mayor Wu told you she will not cooperate. She will continue to release child predators into the community. Their job is to protect the community. Her job is to protect criminals. It's time to arrest her. I know it sounds extreme. It's time to arrest her. It's time to cut off federal funds. It's time to do what you said. It's time to keep your promise and prosecute these criminals who are occupying City Hall in Boston, Massachusetts. I don't want to hear any more talk about potential this, possible this. No, she told you yesterday she will not obey the law. I don't know why this is that complicated. I understand it's a big job. I understand Joe Biden did a lot of damage to this country. Joe Biden let in 20 million illegals, and they're all over they come to places like Boston for sanctuary. You promised you would enforce the law. You promised you would prosecute people like this. It's been 8 months. We've waited long enough. Time to enforce the law. It's time to expose these people for the criminal enterprise they're running. All right, we got a lot more to get to. We got to get to the latest on this truck driver. We have a real problem in this country. We have people who can't speak English, who can't read road signs, driving 18-wheelers, and Americans are paying with their lives. This will infuriate you even more than Mayor Wu releasing pedophiles into the community. We'll get to that. And it's now a crime in England to say, we're all criminals, by the way, because it's a crime in England to say you like bacon. Yes, I'm not making that up. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
All right, have you tried Callahan coffee yet? Well, you should. It's really good stuff. Our first branded product, this is a premium dark roast blend roasted fresh to order in Waltham, Mass. The Callahan coffee blend combines beans from 3 continents to create a unique natural coffee flavor, rich with chocolate and sweet with caramel taste notes, creating a full-bodied dark roast with low acidity. People keep telling us they love it. They keep ordering more. You got to try it. Callahan Coffee is a great way to directly support this show. So order now at CallahanCoffee.com. That's CallahanCoffee.com. I'm still looking to see if any Democrat, if any politician in Maine or Massachusetts will express any condolences, regrets for allowing an illegal alien from Angola to come into the state of Maine, come into Lewiston, and give him a driver's license, give him a permit, and he can't drive, and he drives over the curb and kills a 48-year-old Cambridge woman named Elizabeth Camacho. Say her name, Pocahontas. Say her name, Ed Markey. You explain yourself. You supported this policy. Janet Mills, governor of Maine, say her name. Another dead American because of the insane policies, immigration policies of Democrats. This is just so freaking infuriating. As we know, as we told you about the other day, an illegal alien from India who can't speak English, who can't read English, not only got a driver's license, he got a CDL, and a license to operate a 18-wheeler, a tractor-trailer truck, 40-ton machine on American highways. The video, I'm sure you've seen it already. There he is behind the wheel in Florida the other day. He took an illegal U-turn on the highway, casually just said, I'm going to turn around. He went into one of those places where only emergency vehicles could go. He was in the right lane and took a U-turn right across the highway. And 3 Americans in a minivan had no chance. They were going 70 miles an hour. They plowed into the side of his truck, dead Americans, because Democrats decided, because they're so compassionate, they decided to give this menace a CDL, a 30-year-old man from Florida City, a 37-year-old woman from Pompano Beach, and a 54-year-old man from Miami, dead on impact. And this scumbag showed no remorse, no regret, no emotion at all, just stood there like he was being inconvenienced. He obviously shouldn't be in the country, shouldn't be on the road. He was on the road because Democrats only care about accommodating illegal aliens. Dead Americans, that's just collateral damage. Not a word from, I shouldn't say not a word from Governor Newsom, from Gavin Newsom. He made a joke on X about Trump is the guy that let this guy into the country because he came into 2018. He didn't give him a CDL. He didn't put him on the road in this machine. You did. And he wasn't qualified. They are fast-tracking licenses for people who can't speak English, who shouldn't be driving. This should be a huge scandal. It's not. There are so many dead Americans who were killed by truck drivers who can't speak our language, who don't know the rules of the road, who were given licenses because Democrats want to make them Americans at some point. But here's a report on the latest. This guy doesn't recognize road signs. He can't read road signs. We have that Ironhead.
It also says, quote, the driver failed the assessment, providing correct responses to just 2 of 12 verbal questions and only accurately identifying 1 of 4 highway traffic signs. More of that in a minute. Now, here's more from Secretary Duffy on X posting, here's what we know. Washington State improperly issued the driver a full-term commercial driver's license. Asylum seekers or illegal aliens are not allowed to receive this. And New Mexico failed to conduct an English language proficiency test when they pulled the driver over for speeding last month. Had they done this, the driver would not have been on the road. We're also looking into California's issuance of the commercial driver's license. Now, the failures are despicable, Duffy continues. Non-enforcement and radical immigration policies have turned the trucking industry into a lawless frontier, resulting in unqualified foreign drivers improperly acquiring licenses to operate 40-ton vehicles. And the president and I moved quickly to require drivers to speak English, our national language, and launch a full-scale audit of how these licenses are doled out. Now, the driver of that loaded 18-wheeler, Harjinder Singh, is accused of killing 3 people driving in a minivan in Florida after Singh attempted an illegal U-turn through a highway median last week in Fort Pierce, Florida.
So until now, you didn't have to speak English. You didn't have to be able to read road signs to drive an 18-wheeler. Hell, you didn't have to be an American. okay, it's one thing if you say they're going to pick our crops or clean our bathrooms or whatever that they say on The View, but you're going to allow them to drive 18-wheelers on the highway state to state. That's 3 states, Washington State, California, and New Mexico, who allowed this man to go free and drive away in an 18-wheeler, and 3 innocent Floridians are dead. And there's no accountability. Nobody loses their job. Nobody even gets asked about it. Don't you feel bad? What you did here led to the death of 3 people in Florida. Gavin Newsom doesn't care. He's not shook up by this. He's not expressing any remorse, regret, condolences, nothing from the people in Washington, the people in New Mexico, the people in California who gave this guy a CDL and put this dangerous man on the road around the country. He's going back to Florida, and he will be prosecuted and will be deported. But you know what? There are thousands more just like him out there. Keep your head on a swivel. Thousands more illegal aliens who can't read English, who don't know the rules of the road, who think they're back in wherever, India or Uganda or wherever, where this thing's commonplace. They don't obey rules of the road in these places. I've been to some of them. You've seen videos in India. It's chaos on the roads. They come here, they think they're back home, just whatever. Oh, I need to turn around. I'll take a U-turn right here in the middle of the highway. And there's no outrage. The poor people in Florida, their lives are ruined. Their 30-year-old brother, son, husband, dead because Democrats wanted to give this guy a license to operate a tractor trailer truck. Incredible. This has to end. Just another thing that the Trump administration's doing that should have been done years ago. Just another example of just the carnage, the damage of the last 4 years. Democrats' open border policies lead to dead Americans, and Democrats don't give a damn. Let's get to some good news before we get to the big bust in UK. Yep, they're cracking down. Law and order in UK. Now they're arresting people for saying they like bacon. But before that, I want to do this. This is from Fox Digital. The State Department has yanked more than 6,000 student visas in 2025 for overstays and law violations. The Trump administration launched multiple initiatives aimed at cracking down on immigration and revoking visas. This is really upsetting Democrats, but God, this is great news. Those who participated in pro-Palestine protests have faced heightened scrutiny, as one example, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the administration was reviewing the visa status of all those students. The roughly 6,000 visas that were pulled were primarily due to visa overstays or encounters with the law, including assault, DUI, burglary, and support of terrorism. 6,000 students have broken the law or expressed support of terrorism. This is another scandal, right? Our universities, especially our elite universities, are letting in foreign students and circumventing the normal process. They've been given great leeway to bring in foreigners because they pay full freight, and sometimes they get big donations. I just looked this up. This is incredible. At Harvard, 30% of the student body is foreign. Columbia, 40% is foreign. Those are spots that should have gone to Americans. Instead, they're going to foreigners, including our adversaries. There's almost 250,000 Chinese students in U.S. universities. And as we've mentioned before, they have an obligation to spy. That when they go here, they have an obligation to report back to the CCP what they see, what they learn. There's been many examples of foreign spies being busted, but it's just remarkable that we allowed this to happen. And when Rubio was on the Hill, he's great at this, but they're grilling him about, oh, you're kicking kids out who don't support Israel? No, he's kicking out people who support terrorism, drunk drivers, criminals. There's an interesting piece in the Wall Street Journal today, and this is amazing that we've allowed it to get to this point. by Mike Gallagher, former congressman. He writes, thousands of Chinese citizens are working and studying in U.S. labs. The U.S. hosted 1.1 million international students last year. 25% are from China. In 2022, foreign nationals, many of them Chinese, accounted for almost 40% of science doctorates. We are teaching Chinese doctorate students engineering and science in our schools, and they're going back and they're working, taking what they learned, going back and working in China or working for the CCP. Blindly embracing academic cooperation with a geopolitical rival is absurd. Nobody suggests we should train Iranian nuclear physicists or Russian ballistics engineers. The U.S. wouldn't have been better off collaborating more with Nazi Germany in the 1930s or with the Soviet Union in the Cold War. Why make an exception for a nation dedicated to surpassing the U.S. in emerging technologies? Universities love Chinese students because they pay full freight and they're often subsidized by the Communist Party. Universities need that money to feed their ever-expanding bureaucracies, and this dependency corrupts them. And he goes through some of the examples of students busted for spying. 250,000 students from China here studying and then going back to China. Why has this not been a thing, an issue, a scandal? Why? Because these universities want them. They want Chinese students who pay full freight and probably get big donations from families or from the CCP. It's incredible that this has been going on, and Trump and Marco Rubio are devoted to stopping it, and it's about damn time. It is a scary time in this country. It really is. But I will say this: it's even scarier in the UK. The UK is just, it has fallen. We know England has fallen. It has been overtaken not just by invaders from the Middle East and Africa and Asia, but by the most insane leaders. The leaders, much like the leaders here, the Democrats here, devoted to destroying everything that made England, the UK, what it was. And we're at the point where you can wave a Hamas flag, but not a British flag. That would be provocative. And we're at the point where you could say death to Israel, death to Jews. You could say Heil Hitler to Jewish people, but you can't say I like bacon. Yes, here it is. An English guy, an actual British guy says I like bacon and gets arrested. Watch this.
Okay, we love bacon. Why? Because I like bacon. I say you like bacon. Oh.
See, this is another reason why November 5th, 2024 was so significant in our history. We were heading that way. In many ways, we're still heading that way. That's England. That's the UK. That's one of our closest allies, arresting a British man, a native Englishman, for saying he likes bacon. That he'll probably do more time than any of the Pakistani grooming gangs or the pro-Hamas supporters out there in their Hamas garb, saying kill all the Jews. That is scary. And you say that online, they come to your house and arrest you. But you literally can't say you don't like mass immigration in UK. You can't say you don't like. One guy got arrested for posting that he didn't like seeing all the Palestinian flags in London. They arrested him. That is frightening. Let me get to this because we have we're kind of all waiting, watching, seeing who will emerge as the face of the Democrat Party, who will be the likely candidate in 3 or probably 2.5 years, 2 years, who will be the one who will, they can all coalesce around, rally around, and there just is no one. There is no one. They have no face of the party because the party has gone insane. The people who are out there now, Jasmine Crockett, and Tim Walz, and Gavin Newsom, and just these AOC, Bernie Sanders, those are the guys leading the party. None of them could get elected. None of them. But one of them is going to have to be the nominee. And it seems early, but Harry Enton points out that normally there's already somebody out there polling at 25, 30% who is the logical leader of the party and likely nominee for the next presidential election. But they got no one, nothing now. Listen to this.
Democrats at this point are historically divided. It is a complete and utter mess. It is messier than a hoarder's basement. What are we talking about here? The national early poll leader, 25% plus. Normally, that's where Democrats are. Biden was at 25% plus in 2020. Hillary Clinton was in 08 and 16. Gore was in 00 and 04. At this particular point, there is no one in the Democratic race for president who's polling at 25% plus. The water is quite warm. If you're a Democrat potentially thinking about running in 2028, jump right in, because at this point, there is no front runner.
What do you think? Is that because how people view the Democratic Party right now, is that contributing to this?
Yeah, I think that is in large part of what's going on, is one of the reasons why there is no front runner. Nobody wants to put anybody up at the top of their ballot list, is because at this particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all three. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater. CNN, 26 points underwater. Gallup, 26 points underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different. We'll ultimately end up seeing who they choose. It'll be quite the thing who ultimately gets the rose.
Yes, that's because they've been captured by the radical left. Obviously, the pro open borders and boys and girls sports and men in women's locker rooms and bathrooms. The pro crime. Let's stop Trump from fighting crime in our nation's capital. You know who the leader is in almost all the polls? I looked at all. There's like a dozen polls out there, and Kamala Harris is leading in like almost all of them. She's over 20%. She hasn't obviously announced. She's not really out there saying much. But every time you see Trump doing something, whether it's solving a war or meeting with Putin, you say, she couldn't do that. She absolutely couldn't do that. She couldn't. First of all, she wouldn't close the border, wouldn't enforce the law. She wouldn't meet with Putin. She's the one who encouraged Putin to attack when she said that Ukraine would be in NATO. She didn't know what she was saying. She's too dumb. But here she is the other day. And you tell me, if this person runs, and she there's a good chance she will, because again, she's leading in all the polls. How is that going to go? She is so bad at this. Here she is talking about the Texas redistricting. And you tell me what you think is in that glass. You think that's water, or you think that's Tito's?
I think what they're doing is they're cheating. I think they're cheating. They want to change the current system to make it bend toward the outcome they want. And so, if you believe the public reporting, they get a call that says, hey, redo your lines, even though the fallout is going to include exactly what you said, which is, taking the franchise, the vote, away from specific communities. And in the case of Texas, Latino and Black voters. Yeah. And diluting their votes. And this is not a census year. Yeah. But this is a year with the big, beautiful bill and the unpopularity of it. So they want to bend the rules. And I have to say that, those Texan legislators, good for them. Here's how I think about it. I think you're right in terms of the effect.
God, she is just not capable of this. She can't do this. Please run, though, Kamala. We want you up on that debate stage. And you know what? She's wrong. Of the new districts, 5 of them, I believe, are Hispanic dominated. They're Hispanic districts. You've lost the Hispanics, Democrats. You lost places where you won for decades. You lost the border districts in Texas because you, that hag right there, and Joe Biden opened the border. You did that to yourselves. These are Hispanic people who have flipped, who have gone red, and good for Texas. I love how they say they're bending the rules. Is what Texas is doing illegal? No, it is not. Oh, but I can't change the district in the middle of the decade. Yes, you can. It's legal. There's no loophole. There's no bending the rules. Either it's legal or it's not. And the answer to that is clear. It is legal. Good for them. And they're gonna get them back. They're gonna redistrict their states. They can't do that. They've already done it. That's why there's 0 Republican reps in New England, all of New England. You have 0 Republican reps because they've already redistricted everywhere, and they know it. It's another great move by Greg Abbott and the Republicans. All right, how much time we got? We time? What do we got? No, we don't have time for him. We'll get to the Bobby and Pete challenge. Yes, I did it. My goal was to beat Bobby. Bobby Kennedy and Pete Hegseth issued a challenge. You're supposed to pass it on, so I'm issuing mine to Ironhead right now. But
Wow.
They challenged anybody to do 100 push-ups and 50 pull-ups in however much time it takes. And their goal, they said, was to get under 5 minutes. I had no idea how long it would take, but I knew Bobby Kennedy did it in 5:48. And RFK, he is a beast, but he's also 71, former heroin addict, had a pretty wild life. He wears jeans when he works out, which is really weird. I can't even imagine working out in jeans, doing anything in jeans. Seems so uncomfortable. Why would you do that? Jesse Waters asked him right off the top last night, said, why do you wear jeans? He said, because he goes hiking before he works out. So he goes hiking, and then he goes right to the gym. And I guess he doesn't not aware that you could like go in the locker room and take the jeans off and put shorts on or sweats, but whatever, it's his thing. He wears jeans and he's in great shape. And I know he's on whatever he's on, testosterone or steroids or whatever, but he did it in 5:48. So my goal was to beat Bobby, and Hegseth did it like 5:34. And they showed this was in the gym at the Pentagon, and they had some badass Marines. They had a woman that did it in less than 3 minutes. And they showed her. She's a beast, man. And a couple other guys. One guy did it in 2-something. Anyway, I just wanted to beat RFK, and I failed. I thought I did okay, but my time was 6:13, which I do pull-ups and push-ups. Those are like 2 things I can still do. And most people are afraid of the pull-ups, but you gotta do them. You gotta do them and be comfortable doing them. I think I started off, did like 15 and then 10 and then 5 and then 3. You have to get to 50, however you get there, and get to 100 push-ups. Bobby Kennedy also cheats. He does these little mini push-ups really quick. So I don't think this was legit, but let's watch the Bobby and Pete challenge.
And we had our big Pete and Bobby challenge today. 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. You try to get under 5 minutes. How'd you do?
We got close. I was about 5:25. You were right behind me.
We had a couple of Marines here.
One beat 3 minutes, a couple beat 4 minutes. Pretty impressive.
It was President Trump who inspired us to do this. This is the beginning of our tour, challenging Americans to get back in shape, eat better, but also you need to get out and exercise. And we have a challenge. There's another cabinet member who we hope to show up today. We told him there was a cabinet meeting here. But anyway, we want to send out a challenge to Sean Duffy to come and do this.
So Secretary Duffy, you're invited to do the Pete and Bobby challenge. Can you do it in under 5 minutes? 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. What do you think?
If you can beat 6 minutes, you can be part of this.
I couldn't do it. But Pete challenges Will Cain, and Kennedy challenges Sean Duffy. They missed an opportunity there. They should have challenged their predecessors. You could have Hegseth challenge Lloyd Austin, and RFK could have challenged Rachel Levine.
That would have been unbelievable.
Like, great. They could put a picture of him up on screen and say, Rachel, 50 pull-ups. Rachel Levine couldn't do one. Lloyd Austin could barely get his ass out of a chair. This is pretty striking, the difference.
Dangle some ribeyes and lobster tails above the pull-up bar.
True. That's true. But I mean, those guys are in great shape, and so was everyone in the room with them, and good for them. But and by the way, I did better pull-ups than Hegseth. He was struggling, man, to get his chin up to the bar. I'm not sure he did 50. And did you see RFK with little mini push-ups? He does them really fast.
They were all doing that, it looked like.
Yeah, I guess next time I'm going to do that. I'm going to do little mini push-ups and do pull-ups like Hegseth. But you're going to give it a shot, Ironhead?
Yeah, I'll give you my results next week when I'm done with it.
It doesn't matter how. You just have to get to 50. You could do them one at a time. That's all.
I'd have to find out where to even do pull-ups.
You do it on a pull-up bar. It's weird.
No, I don't have one. I'm trying to see if I have anything I could just pull myself up.
They have them. They have them in the city, like all around the city. There'll be these little, outdoor gyms. That's why I do them, because it's walk around and I just jump up and try to do a few. But I'm going to work on that. I'm going to try to beat RFK's time of 5. He said it was 5:48, I believe, which is pretty amazing for a 71-year-old man. Again, he's got some pharmaceutical help there, but he's still an impressive physical specimen, and he is getting it done. All right, that will do it for today. This 8-month anniversary of Donald Trump taking office. And again, lots of wonderful things. No arrests. Time for arrests. Let's get it done. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
And what crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you
I think his
suggested earlier.
primary crime is running for governor, because he's done such a bad job